I do not own the rights to this music.
Will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord until I oh yes, I will trust in the Lord. I'm gonna trust in the Lord. Oh, I'm trust in the Lord until I
Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. Sunday School lesson for Sunday, September the 11th, 2022. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based upon the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. We are discussing God's exceptional choice as the Fall Lesson Series title is a discussion of the continuous progression of God's grace and mercy working through salvation from Abraham to Jesus and the early church, and even the deliverance of our ancestors from bondage. The God's Exceptional Choice lesson series is categorized into 3 units or groups of lessons, and we are in Unit 1, and we are discussing God called Abraham's family. And it explores God's unpredictable and unexpected choices. It's a series of lessons that focuses on God's choice of unlikely and unexpected people to effect or execute his promises to bless Abraham and his family of descendants and make them a great nation. The title of our second lesson in the Unit 1 Fall Lesson Series is titled An Unexpected Choice. And that comes from Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And that verse reads, "The Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." So it's talking about that Rebekah is carrying fraternal twins, and the stage is set for the conflict that would result from that birth, even from the womb. Now, the title, The Unexpected Choice, the background to today's lesson is a continuation of the life of Abraham, father of the Christian faith and father of nations. As the Lord counted Abraham righteous for his faith, God delivered the promised seed, which was Isaac, through Abraham and Sarah for the salvation of the world. The Lord blessed Abraham in every way. He lived to see his promised heir Isaac live to be a grown man. Abraham, in his old age, sent his servant to the city of Nahor, near his ancestral home, to find a wife for his son Isaac. Abraham assured the servant that God had promised this, and that God would send his angel to guide and direct him, and that when he arrived at his destination, God would reveal the woman to marry Isaac. Upon his arrival, the servant prayed to God, and that woman was revealed to be Rebekah, which brings us to today's lesson. There are 3 summary lesson points for today. The legacy continues from Genesis chapter 25, verses 19b through 21, and the struggle for supremacy, Genesis chapter 25, verses 22 through 26, and lastly, misaligned priorities from Genesis chapter 25, verses 27 through 34. The passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words of faith, legacy, misaligned, and entreated. Now, faith, we know, is the complete trust, assurance, belief, or confidence, as Abraham was counted righteous for his faith in God, and Isaac is steadfast in his faith in God as he prays for deliverance of a inheritor or son. Now, the legacy is something that's transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor. And in today's lesson, it is the birthright and the fertility challenges and God's promise to Abraham. It's all a legacy of God's promise. Misalign, to align poorly, incorrectly, or not in order, or in other words, not to line up. And in today's lesson, it's Jacob and Esau's decisions that are based on selfish desires as opposed to seeking and aligning their decision with God's spiritual guidance. And entreated, it's to make an earnest and urgent plea or request. And in today's lesson, it is Isaac's persistent prayer to God for his wife to conceive a son so that he could satisfy his birthright. Now, the first summary point, the legacy continues from Genesis chapter 25, verses 19b through 21. These passages discuss the fertility challenges experienced by Isaac and Rebekah and how God answered Isaac's prayer for a child. Now, Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac, it says in these passages of scriptures, was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, who was the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean from Paddan, Aram, and sister of Laban the Aramean. Now, Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless or barren, inability to have children. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife, Rebekah, became pregnant. So it is a continuation of the challenges of Abraham and Sarah are here experienced in the lives of their son Isaac and his wife Rebekah, and the Lord answered the prayer in both cases. Now, struggle for supremacy is the second summary point, and that's from Genesis chapter 25, verses 22 through 26. And these passages discuss the twins' struggle as to who would be the dominant person and who would come out on top. Now, the babies jostled each other within her, and Rebekah was concerned as to why this was happening to her and basically what was going on. So again, she took her concerns to the Lord, and the Lord told her that she had two nations in her womb, and two people within her will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger, which goes against the laws of that time and appears to go against the laws of nature. So when the time came for the birth, she gave birth to twins. The first came out was Esau, and he was burly and red, and his whole body was hairy like a garment. So they named him Esau. And the second brother to come out was Jacob. And Jacob came out grasping at Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when all of this happened, when Rebekah gave birth. So he waited and prayed for the Lord to deliver his promise for 20 years. So we must be patient too, that things work out for the good of God's will in his own time frame. The third and final summary point is misaligned priorities. And these passages discuss the character and priorities and family dynamics of Jacob and Esau. And it says that the boys grew up. Esau was a hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. So it appears that Esau was a outdoorsman, hunter, and Jacob was the more serious-minded of the two who attended to family matters. So Isaac was partial to Esau because he loved wild game. And Rebecca was partial to Jacob because of his family skills. So once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in and he was very hungry. And he asked Jacob for some of the stew because he was famished. And Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." And Esau was very irresponsible. He said, "Look, I'm about to die, so what good is the birthright to me?" So he was only concerned about his immediate needs, whereas Jacob was only concerned about his selfish needs for something that the Lord had already promised him. So the point was that everyone's priorities were based on selfish motives as opposed to seeking the will of God to lead and direct them. So we must make sure that we align our priorities by seeking spiritual guidance so that our priorities will be in line with God's blessings. So there are the three summary points for Sunday, September the 11th, 2022. The legacy continues from Genesis chapter 25, verses 19b through 21. Struggling for supremacy from Genesis chapter 25, verses 22 through 26. And misaligned priorities from Genesis chapter 25, verses 27 through 34. This is Brother Ron with the Sunday School Summary for Sunday, September the 11th, 2022. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron.